I'm Brianna.
Hi, I'm Regina.
Welcome to the
Daughter Mama Charmarama. We are two amazing ladies. I am Gen X.
I'm Gen Z.
And we talk about everything everywhere according to us. So thanks for joining us today for this week's episode. We're talking about stories or movies that are based on real life events or the bios of real life people. So for our icebreaker today, what is the greatest story ever told to you? And is there proof of this story?
No, that's an interesting question you got there.
Cue the melodramatics.
To me, well, I've really been vibing with The Wiz lately.
Ease on down the road.
Although, no, of course that's not based on any true real life events. Still, though, I love it. All of VeggieTales. I really like VeggieTales. That's my entire childhood right there.
So you feel like VeggieTales is the greatest story ever told to you?
Yep. And I'm going with it. We had Jonah on VHS. I used to watch that all the time. My favorite one is still the Easter one with the chocolate bunny and Esther. I love the Esther one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the VeggieTales series.
Okay, well, the greatest story ever told to me was, of course, the story of Yahushua, Jesus, his birth and ministry and life, and all the great things that he was able to do, and the fact that though he died and was killed and hung on a tree, he resurrected and he's alive forevermore. And there's proof of him being here. We use the Holy Bible as our primary text. There have also been archaeological studies to confirm his birth and his death, his existence overall. And any one of us who are believers can testify of the goodness of the Lord and what it means to have faith in Jesus and a relationship with God through his finished work. And what was interesting to me looking through the archaeological discoveries, there's something called the Nazareth inscription. And the Nazareth inscription is an edict from Caesar inscribed on a marble slab, which imposes a death penalty in Israel for anyone caught moving bodies from family tombs, and specifically sepulchre ceiling tombs, such as the one Yeshua was buried in. So what would be the reason for having that type of edict if there wasn't suspect that he had resurrected? So that's the greatest story ever told to me. But I do like movies and documentaries about real life people and real life events. So we're going to talk about movies based on true stories, and also like to emphasize that someone's truth becomes our information, a lot of times our entertainment. So we know that in an hour and a half or 2 hour or more movie, we can't have every truthful detail regarding someone's life or events, based on someone's life or circumstances. There's truth and then there's embellishment. So that's why I say information and entertainment. So there's one movie that's hitting theaters today, and it's Sarah's Oil. It's based on the life and events of Sarah Rector. She actually owned land with her family. They were burdened by property taxes, and so they leased the land to an oil company. And then when there was an oil drill in 1913 and discovery that there was oil on the land, then she gained about $300 or so, which is over $7,000. And by today's calculation, they began to earn and out-earn, and she ended up being the richest 12-year-old in the United States because of the royalties, gaining millionaire status. And so it's a beautiful thing. She has grandchildren that are still alive, and they're holding up the banner for this wonderful story.
The other movies that we found that we love that are based on true stories. The first one that came to mind for me was Glory Road. We watched that probably like 37 times because of my brother. I always kind of try and confuse it with Remember the Titans, but that was the basketball movie, and we did also talk about Remember the Titans is based on a true story too, right?
Yeah, it's football.
Yeah, but Glory Road was basketball. I just remember the scene where Harry was like flunking out of class or whatever, and his mama came up to school, purse in hand, pissed, and she sits like directly behind him in class, and every time the professor would ask a question, she'd go, Harry can, my son, Harry can.
So funny.
So obnoxious.
Don't underestimate the fury of a black mom or any mom sold out for their children when it comes to screwing up your education. Okay. Like, it's not going to bode well for you. Don't do it.
She said, you're not going to come up here and embarrass me in front of all these people. So
you embarrass me, I'm going to embarrass you.
Mm-hmm. Act like you got some home training.
That is so funny. I love that movie, Glory Road. And another movie we love is Hidden Figures.
Yes.
We spent like a whole Saturday at NASA in Hampton, Virginia one day and just discovered and looked at so many different things. But the only thing we did not see was Hidden Figures. Those women who were mathematicians and computer scientists and just
they weren't there.
Calculators. There was nothing to tell us or introduce them to us. I don't know what they have in Texas from NASA regarding them, but nothing in Hampton, Virginia. that we would come across. So we know that Hidden Figures is based on a true story, true people, true events. So the brilliant African-American women at NASA, Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson.
It was amazing. The movie's fantastic. Taraji absolutely slayed. The bathroom scene, turns out, they just put that in there, like in the movie, for cinematic reasons or whatever, because Catherine, when they interviewed her about it, she was like, I was just using the white lady's bathroom and it was nothing that was so taboo about it.
That was so fun. She was like, I was using the nearest bathroom. Like, no.
Like, who's walking 3 miles in the rain like Taraji did? Please.
That's why I said information or entertainment depending on the truth and the embellishment, of the movie. So yeah.
Do what you gotta do, bestie.
So funny. We're movie buffs. I love that movie, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. And so it was about a boy who was just trying to find different ways or discover ways, something innovative, some type of idea to take his family out of poverty. And so drought devastated the village, and he was able to build a windmill that could generate enough energy to produce what they needed to have water flowing through the village and for their lives. So where there's drought, there's also famine. So it was very hard to watch, but they came out on top after the hardship. So good. So good.
That makes me think of the movie that I ended up watching in like sophomore English or something, The Kite Runner. That was a fantastic movie. I think that was inspired by real events or based on a true story. I remember when we read the book, and that's why we ended up watching the movie. It was in fact about a little boy who they would have these like kite races in his neighborhood somewhere in the Middle East. I want to say Afghanistan, but I'm not entirely sure. The way they would do it is they would line the strings of the kites with liquid glass. And yes, they were cutting their hands open, lining this like 100 yards of string with this glass, and they would use the kites to like fight in the sky. And he went through honestly a lot. It's a hard watch, and it's a very difficult read, just hearing the tragedies and stuff that this man and his friends go through. But it was in the end a beautiful, inspiring story about overcoming trauma and stuff like that, and that's what that movie made me think of.
Yeah, basically overcoming, surviving through, and eventually thrive. And so The Sound of Music. There was a real life Maria von Trapp. She published a book about her own family, the story of the Trapp family singers back in 1949. So I thought that was a nice touch.
That was amazing. I love Julie Andrews. She's on my Mount Rushmore of white women. I freaking love her so freaking much. We just found out that was based on a true story. I fully thought that was just 100% pure fiction. The movie is fantastic. Excellent work.
Love that. And one of my favorite animated movies is Anastasia.
Yes!
The stories of the Romanov family, and she was the princess who was left behind when they were invaded, and she was separated from the living relatives. And so they searched for her high and low, and then it said that they finally found her, and she was reunited with the family. But then there was speculation about they never could really tell whether or not it was her. I can only hope that it was her.
I hope it
that
was.
She was reunited.
I really hope it was.
But yeah, the Romanov family continued down a rabbit hole with research.
That was a good movie. I didn't even realize that wasn't a Disney movie until like college.
If I can learn to do it, you can learn to do it.
Cadillac Records was based on Etta James's real life story.
Oh yeah, Etta James, beautiful singer. Love the music.
She acted her face off in that movie.
Yeah,
I hated everybody involved, but it was a good movie.
It was good and it was sad. I mean, anything with just the lives of people, how they can get torn apart.
The ending car scene.
But that's what life is, messy. The human experience is not all neat and packaged and clean. It's just ebbs and flows and just a lot of messiness. Miss Virginia, I remember watching this. Virginia Walden Ford is a single mother in Washington, D.C., struggling to make ends meet. Can't afford to send her son to private school, so she takes up a fight with the education system about mistreating minority children for decades. These type of stories that share people's struggles and the way that they were able to survive, overcome, or receive quote-unquote happy endings should inspire us to stand up and be champions and be heroes, the ones that we're looking for. Because sometimes you're looking for somebody to come to your rescue when you actually have to champion your own cause and be the hero that you're expecting and kind of save yourself in a manner of speaking, and then help will come to you.
Oh, Hustlers. I saw that. I think that's J-Lo's best role. I think she's a better actor than she is singer. I think it goes actor, dancer, singer. And the first month she wore this, I swear it was like ankle length gigantic fur coat. She was walking around looking like a polar bear. It was amazing.
Not the polar bear.
A polar bear. It was so good. I really liked it. It's a movie basically about how the 2008 recession hit the strip clubs. Lizzo was in it. Cardi B is in it in the beginning. Usher's in it. I think he appears as himself. Yeah. It's very good. It's based on a true story of a woman who used to, she was in the world and everything, and then she had a baby and everything. It was like a lot, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
She's a great dancer.
She's a fantastic
And I've
dancer.
enjoyed some of her acting talent in certain movies that I've seen.
I like when actors learn how to do the skill that their character has to do. Like how Zendaya in The Greatest Showman actually did learn how to do the aerials and the hoop dancing and stuff, and she performed many of her own stunts. She did have stunt doubles for some of the more complicated stuff, but she did in fact do Rewrite the Stars with Zac Efron by herself.
Even learning another language, because the Karate Kid, Taraji, she learned Mandarin. Yeah, so.
Which was crazy to me.
Right.
That's one of the hardest languages to learn.
It's a tough lesson to learn. A lot of children are taking that up now. Homeschool children or just children who have private tutors are learning that as a second language. A lot of people try to, put down acting and that whole acting in, professional skill set. But it is a lot of work. It's respectable work in some regard, but it finds its usefulness in society, especially when there are documentaries, and then what we find useful and what can be appreciated, we should. And as believers, we should go in and occupy, do business, and also dominate and show how our beliefs come forth.
Can you go back and give a little bit more physical evidence to the examples of Jesus?
So there is a heel bone of the crucified man. And so it's a replica in a museum in Israel, literary evidence for Roman crucifixion. And so it shows how the nails go through the bones. And so the heel bone of the crucified man affirms the description of Yeshua's crucifixion in scripture. It counters the objections of critics who have argued that Yeshua would have been thrown into a mass grave for criminals rather than been dignified with a proper burial. There's so many lies around, what happens when a person is crucified. And those myths have been debunked through archaeological discoveries. And then there's also a tomb of Yahushua in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So there are 3 tombs in Jerusalem purported to be the final resting place of Yeshua. Now we know Joseph of Arimathea went ahead and asked for his body, Yahushua's body, to be buried in a tomb that had never been used before, and his request was granted. With the oldest attestation to be in the tomb of Christ lies with the Church of Holy Sepulchre. So archaeological research has demonstrated that this site was a Jewish cemetery in an ancient limestone quarry outside of the walls of Jerusalem at the time of Yahushua's death. So this aligns with the biblical description of the tomb in which Yahushua was laid, being outside of the city walls. That's Matthew 27 and 39 and Hebrews 13 and 12. So, in more recent news of current events, things that's very true and not lore, embellishment, exaggeration at all, is that the government shutdown continues. Still, and I did see where they were releasing partial payments from SNAP, and then the state of Virginia, that governor said that he was going to release whatever amount, would be necessary. Then I read where a judge was saying that SNAP at least had to be released in full, whatever way they were supposed to make that happen, and then I think there was a deadline attached to it. I really feel bad for people who are furloughed. I feel bad for people who do not work for the government, but if you're providing a product or service for people who make their living from the government, then you can't be paid because they're not being paid.
There was a time where having a government job was a good thing.
I mean, I worked for the government for over a decade, and it was a good thing. My benefits was good, my salary and all that was good.
Aside from that one time that they fired her for no reason.
Oh yeah, that was funny. You go back and watch that episode, and then they had to rehire me and pay me back everything.
I think regarding this whole shutdown and everything, you think they're going to pay everybody before Black Friday? If not, and regardless of whether they do or don't, I really think that we need to have like a serious, the No Kings stuff is great. We need to hit them in their pockets. I don't think there should be a Black Friday frenzy this year.
I heard people were sitting Black Friday out for that
Who
very
has
reason.
the money?
But then Black Friday hasn't been a hit in, I want to say, 10 years or more. You know why? Because stores began to open on Thanksgiving evening.
Mm-hmm.
So stores started opening or releasing their sales around 6 p.m.
I know, because I worked at Thanksgiving.
Right, after dinner on Thanksgiving. So it's not all as, cracked up.
It's not always cracked up to be. So we work Thanksgiving, stay open until like 1 a.m. Friday morning and then come back at 5 a.m. to be open all day on Friday. And then most of the day on Saturday and Sunday. And then Cyber Monday started becoming a thing where people were ordering whatever. And then Black Friday's been getting earlier and earlier too. In addition to the fact that they've been raising their prices sometime in the summer, maybe September, maybe even October, but like sometime between August, really July, and like September, raising the price to what it would have been. And then that Black Friday sale is then bringing it back down to the original price.
Right.
So they're raising it 20% just to give you 20% off for Black Friday, with knowing they're still gonna make their full amount of money back. It's a lot of hubbub and it's a lot of hullabaloo, and I'm really not here for it.
Fancy footwork.
I think we should sit out Black Friday this year on like a really big scale. Like if as many people who keep going to these No Kings protests, which is amazing, keep doing it. Let's do some real actionable damage. Fighting fascism is hard work. We need to get to doing the work.
I think it's just a time for prudence overall in terms of the big gift giving that happens during Christmas. I think it's a time to be creative, what people are going to do to celebrate that time. Even for Hanukkah, I celebrate Hanukkah. I still acknowledge Christmas because I have grandchildren and all. We still give gifts during Hanukkah. So I just think it's a time for prudence, not because fear or a scarcity mindset,
Handmaker gifts.
but just to focus on the fact that we are saving and storing up and preparing for times of inconvenience.
Yeah, I say we sit it out. Everybody in my family is getting thoughts and prayers for Christmas. Just like last year and the year before that and the year before that. Don't ask me for nothing else.
That's funny.
Hallelujah.
A lot of people have been receiving the word of the Lord regarding the Most High coming to our rescue and answering prayers and performing His word, which is the absolute truth, and it's not lore at all. He keeps His promises. Oh, I love that song. But yeah, I'd never seen so many people or realized there were so many people hanging on, holding on, and just kind of inhaling, exhaling it through it. And I guess social media and the different formats that we use to kind of engage have made the world smaller. So if you felt like the Lone Ranger in the past, now you can hear people telling the same stories about the struggles they're experiencing that are familiar to you, right? And so many of us are standing in the gap for loved ones and deciding not to bow to circumstances and waiting and expecting the promises of the Lord to come through for them, whether it's needs, desires, or whatever urgencies. I'm also just overcome by joy with the generosity of so many people. They're helping people who are unhoused or displaced or behind in their bills. Just everyday people giving money for groceries or paying for hotels for somebody who's having housing insecurity. Whatever it is, some people have received actual homes, not just apartments, but like a house, home ownership, and just cars and job offers. I heard this one man saying, that's what I really need. I really need a job. Thank you so much. And he had like 4 offers for full-time jobs right away. So I think that's great. You know, and the former incarcerated community have been able to come home and find jobs. And that's been true, I want to say, for the past 6 years or so. Or more, so that's good. It cuts down on recidivism when they can re-enter society with the right supports and programs, so they don't go back down that road. And having an income is a part of that.
It's really good when we stand together, when we help each other. Like, community is how we get through this. Community is what is going to save us ultimately. Everybody needs to get more woke immediately. Okay, we cannot be so selfish and individualized and main characters of everybody else's story. That's not okay. We get through this by being together, by helping each other.
And being compassionate with one another and willing to share. And if you don't have it to give out of your own resources, then maybe put in a call or make a referral for somebody who does.
Yeah.
So we got to do away with this individualism, this separatism, and show more compassion and patience and empathize with somebody else's situation as opposed to dismissing it or trying to turn a blind eye. So we really have to let go of these sides we've chosen to stand on while we watch the world burn. Like, no, because if it's not your neighborhood this week, wait a few days.
Wait a few days. As much as you think, oh, they're never going to come for me. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
So that's the way I like to look at it. So yeah, it's good to go down memory lane looking at the movies that we've enjoyed. Good stories, good stuff.
Good stuff.
Anything else?
I wish A Bug's Life was based on real life events. I think it's a prudent movie to watch if you haven't seen it in a while. Watch it. Let it radicalize you the way it radicalized me when I was a youngin'.
Oh my goodness. The way you hate bugs, the fact of
I
a
do hate
talking
bugs.
bug or bug that would organize
They're
a whole
bad.
lifestyle.
They sure did.
Hardly believe
They
it.
did amazing. I was so supportive of the ants versus the grasshoppers. I joined the side of the ants. I'm pro.
I love the ants though, because they talk about it in the Bible. You know how the ants work during the summer in order to store up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we should do the same thing.
That's a popular little children's story too. An ant versus, it was a hardworking ant versus a lazy grasshopper who like spent the whole summer playing, and the ant was like preparing for winter, and then winter time came and the ant was prepared. The grasshopper nearly froze to death because it didn't store up anything, and so the ant helps the grasshopper, and that's an example of preparation and community. Rather than the ant be like, I told you so, and now you're gonna be out here and die. The ant was like, come, just come in my house, and we'll have some food, and we'll, they lit a fire and everything. It was so cute.
Yeah.
But community saves us. Community and compassion.
It does. We help us one for another. We're blessed to be a blessing, and we believe that. So be encouraged, be well, and continue to seek the Lord and let Him love on you, and you love Him in return with your obedience. Be well, be good, and we'll see you right back here on the channel for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.